CashFlow Diary Podcast, episode 30.
Congratulations, you showed up. Give yourself a high five in celebration of your success. Welcome to the CashFlow Diary, where new and experienced investors come to take confident action towards their goals. Your host is a family man, a real estate entrepreneur, investor, coach, and instructor. As a master facilitator of Robert Kiyosaki's Cashflow 101 game, he's inspired many to begin their journey into creating cash flow for themselves and their family. And now, here he is to offer you the tools required to earn the income desired. Your cash flow coach, Jay Massey.
Well, it's that time again. You are listening to me. I am talking to you, and we have more information to share. We're going to take a break from our normally scheduled program. We're going to cut to some live audio for this particular episode. It's something that I found that I think you want to hear. And more importantly than that, I believe it'll help learn some things for both of us, you and me. I know that's one of the things that I learn when I listen to the audio sometimes that I did, that I learned new things that I didn't know that I knew, but relearned. Anyway, I think you get my point. Before we go there, though, if this is the first time you're listening to us, make sure that you go over to learninvestingnow.com, because some of you are wanting to know how to transact real estate, possibly using none of your own money or credit. You may or may not know, but that's how I got started. Created a course, teaches you to do the same thing. Go over there, put your email in the box. You'll get the ebook, you'll get the videos, you'll get courses, and more material to help you be able to do exactly that. Also, if you have any comments or concerns about the show, feel free to call us at 800-689-1764. We love to hear from you. And again, if this is your first time, make sure you listen to episode 1 to understand a little bit about the format. Now, we've got that out of the way. All right, let's go ahead and get started with our cash quote for this particular episode. It comes to us from a source you may not recognize, but it has everything to do with what we're going to talk about and what you're going to hear. A little perspective, like a little humor, goes a long way. That comes to us from a gentleman by the name of Alan Klein. He was an American businessman, talent agent, and record label executive. He's working for Sam Cooke and created the new role of business manager, negotiating with record companies on behalf of his clients' interest. And this particular quote struck me for the following reason. Many of you, if you've been following me on Facebook or wherever, emails, what have you, you know that I was fortunate enough to be able to be invited to go speak at a investor conference over in Estonia. You're like, where is that? And that's okay. It's one of the Baltic countries. And the fun part was I got some perspective on real estate. And one of the best things about that particular trip for me was simply the fact that, real estate works as long as there are people. And it doesn't really matter where it is. It doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter the legal laws, all those things. Those are things that you can learn and find out or hire people to give you the answers to. The point is that you got to understand who your customer is. And once you understand who your customer is, you have the ability to create a business. So with that, I want to give you some additional perspective from 2 different audios from a live event that was done. And I think you'll be able to get some good information.
So I've already been taking action and putting out a lot of bandit signs. Yes. I've been having trouble getting motivated sellers to reply to my bandit signs. Okay. I've had other real estate investors reply to my bandit signs.
Got it.
But no motivated sellers, so I'm not getting any deals in. Mm-hmm. So I was wondering, what is your strategy? What is your system for getting nationwide deals and also getting local deals?
Same, regardless of location, it's the same thing, same process. Is there anyone in here with a real estate license? There was one guy earlier. Is there another one? Yes. Anyone else? Just one, two? Okay. Do you still actively list property? Yes. Do you? No, you know, but you do. Okay. So here's one way that I do. What I'll do is I will call someone who has listings of property. You're like, what do you mean? I was trying to get stuff that wasn't listed. Follow with me. Hold on. I will ask her questions like, what was your name again? Yvonne Pesic. Excellent. Got it. So I will ask Yvonne. Yvonne, do you have anything that could be seller financed? That's the question you're writing down. Do you have anything that could be seller financed? And your answer today would be no. Do you think anyone in your office has anything that could be seller financed? Maybe. Would you be willing to ask them for me? Excellent. And that's what I'm looking for. The reason I asked that specific question is because if someone is willing to seller finance something, it is an indication of distress. That's what it is. You said motivated seller. I said distress. Same thing. They have to have a reason to want to seller finance. So now I know that we didn't have enough contracts to go around, but for those of you who got the contract, I got that because that guy's a motivated seller because I was talking to the guy and said, hey, do you have anything that could be seller financed? He's like, probably, what are you looking for? And I just told him, 100 plus units, blah, 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 non-recourse financing, this is what I can put down, blah, 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 blah. He's like, oh, I got one. Really? Send it over. Ta-da, contract. 6 days. That's what that took. Make sense?
Non-recourse financing meaning?
Yeah, could you explain that? That was my question.
Non-recourse financing. How many of you are like, man, my credit sucks? All right, here's why non-recourse financing is awesome. Non-recourse financing simply means the only recourse the lender has is to take the property back from you and your personal credit is irrelevant. Non-recourse financing. It simply is dependent upon the building. It's their only option to take things back. They can't put any judgments against you. There's no other recourse. They can quote unquote file foreclosure, but it doesn't go on your personal credit record. It doesn't matter. It doesn't show up. It's nothing. It's like it doesn't exist. You just hand them the property back and move on. Period. There's no other way for them to quote unquote be paid off in full if something goes bad. Does that make sense? Does that sound like I'm hedging my bet? Yeah, because I don't have control of 182 families. Does that make sense? Okay. So that's why non-recourse financing is important. That's just part of why it's important. It also comes with this neat little nifty feature of typically being assumable. So if I go through the process and set all this up, and then want to sell it, what is the issue the new buyer typically has? Getting financing. But what if that was already in place and they could just step into position for me? Is that worth something? The answer is yes. Okay? So all of those things are part of the reasons why I wanted it, because I'm looking at the exit if need be. That's what I was looking at. So non-recourse financing can become greatly important, but that's what I described to him. I started with the question, hey, do you have anything that can be seller financed? Okay, and that's how that started. Make sense? So, and in this particular case, like I said, this is how it started. We came to some light terms over the phone verbally. He took it to the guy. The guy said, yeah, sounds great, cool. We made a few changes, and boom, contract. Wired the escrow money this morning, and the team, I'll describe that in a second. The team back at home, quote unquote, because we're very virtual, all of us in my company don't work in any one location. So the operations officer is currently today in San Francisco, so that's where she's working from. The CFO is currently in Cancun, San Diego? I don't know, she's somewhere. And everybody is somewhere. Because with the internet, I don't care where they are. I just care that they get the work done. I'm here, obviously. My executive assistant, she actually lives in Memphis. So we rarely even see each other, which is really funny. When we get together, it's like a reunion. They're like, you guys work together? Don't you see each other? We're like, no, not really. It's kind of fun. It's neat. So next week, we're all going to Memphis. So it'll be fun because we'll be like, hey, how you been? Oh, you lost weight. Neat. You know, it'll be like that because we don't see each other. But we talk all the time, so it's pretty funny. So all of that comes together. That is by far my primary method of finding distressed property. Most everything that I have ever done, I've done with absolutely no marketing budget. Just None. This website that you keep seeing, that I keep referencing, this is my first, like, okay, let's try to do this website thing right. That's first time. Not good at it. And I know that, so I found a person who is good at it and put that together. But I've done a lot of this without any marketing. It's getting on the feet on the streets, at the networking groups, asking that very question, looking for people. One of my other basic phrases that I use is, hi, my name is, what did you say your name was again?
Detrion.
Detrion. Hi, my name is Detrion. I'm a wholesaler. What that means is that I buy properties at a discount and I sell them at a discount. What type of investing would you like to do? Period. Because I'm assuming you're looking to do wholesaling or some kind. Okay. What type of investing you said?
Single family.
Single family. Do you like to buy and hold those, or do you want to fix them and flip them?
Fix and flip.
Excellent. And what are of the last 5 deals you've done, what zip code and property types have they been?
60173, and the property types were between $100,000 to $200,000.
Excellent. Did he not just tell me what he would buy? Did he not just tell me where he would buy? And then I'm going to find 5 more people like this who say something similar near those same zip codes, and I'm going to go find what all 5 of them said they would buy. Find one house that meets all 5 of their criteria. And then I'm going to send them an email saying, hey, I found one for you, here you go. First one to come to the table with cash closes gets it, and you will pay me $2,000, $5,000, $10,000, whatever the number is you've decided. First one that gets to the table gets it. Period.
My last question, back off of that.
No problem.
How many realtors are you using then? Or do you have like a ton of real estate agents that you talk to?
I rarely use realtors. I use me. I go to the networking group and talk and build. I talk about my identity everywhere I go. And as you talk about your identity, people begin to know you as the guy who does this. Make sense? Like right now, you guys, you're about to see it, but many of you already know that I do low-income property, multifamily. You know that. You know what you're getting, right? If I said Coke, you know what you're getting, right? If I said just do it, what brand are you buying? You know that. You need to develop that same thing, and that's why your investor identity is so important, because it becomes your brand and what you are known for. Therefore, when a realtor is trying to refer a property to you, they go, oh, I know that guy. He buys this and this type of this kind. And when a private investor comes to you and says, oh, they know what you're going to use their money for. This is why I get that phone call from the gentleman before I got here that said, look, I got more money for you. And he doesn't need to know what address or what it's going to, because he already knows what we do. Does it make sense? That's why I'll get the phone call from, some of my other investors. They'll send their parents. My parents, here, take their money too. And then and what's awesome is that they can explain to their parents what I do, because they know the brand. They understand the identity. That's what your investor identity eventually becomes your brand. If you don't consistently develop that, it's hard to refer you business. It's hard for people to know what they're going to get. Some of us like certain brands and stores, like who absolutely swears up and down that I must wash my clothes with Tide. Who is it? Who are you? See, there's somebody, it's Tide. You speak cheer to her and she's going to shoot you. No, I am not using cheer. Do you not okay, no problem.
How do you lock that property in though? You've got 5 people interested in a property.
Oh, this is going to be good.
You've got 5 people
interested
in a property. So how do you lock that property in so that he doesn't go around you and get that property without you getting the money?
Well, that's what the contract is for, right?
So you get a contract. So when you find a house, you're saying you put a contract.
Yeah, I'm not going to tell them that I have the house until I have a contract. If I don't have a contract, all I have is an idea. As a wholesaler, your inventory is the contract. No contract, you got nothing but an idea. Okay? It's a good idea.
And you're not committed to that contract because you have either a weasel clause or a non-recourse financing, whatever.
Actually, I am committed to that contract because I know I'm going to do what it takes to close. I made a promise to the seller. So this is not about trying to get out the back door.
So if none of these 5 people are interested in it,
I'm going to find 5 more. I'm going to do what it takes to keep my word to the seller. Period. I don't know what that may mean. I don't know how late I'll need to stay up, but I'll get it done. Because being known as the person who will close will get you deals at discounts. People will take my offer, especially in Memphis, at a different price because it will close. Period. They can have, I've seen it happen, other offers at higher prices. No, we'll take his. Why? He'll close. How do you know? Well, and then they go through the, does it make sense? It's more important. That's what's important, okay? But again, that becomes part of the brand, right? That becomes part of who you are. That's your identity. You're known as a person who closes, period.
Well, you heard me mention in this particular section a marketplace. Now, I want to be very clear. Because I'm in a marketplace, that's not the reason you should be there. That's not the reason you shouldn't be there either. I'm just saying, do your own due diligence. Don't just go somewhere because you heard somebody somewhere say a particular marketplace was good. But get the lesson. Build the brand. Be known for this. In fact, what's pretty funny is that I'm in the process right now of closing on like 6, 7, 8 duplexes that I really didn't necessarily want for myself. So I'm just going to end up selling them. Don't even know to who yet. The point is, though, is that I got the deal because I was known as the guy who would close. I was able to negotiate an extended closing. I was able to negotiate a decent enough price to be able to offer a discounted property over to, the end buyers, whoever they may be. And they're going to get completely set up because we're going to have the rehab done, the property management will be in place. All of this stuff is being set aside so that, it can be as foolproof as I possibly can make it. The point is, it was all done and possible because of the brand that was already in existence. So keep that in mind as you're going out there to build your business. Don't just think about it from a transaction standpoint. Think about it from a brand standpoint. Does this building, does this product, does this service, do my vendors represent the brand that I am building properly? Hopefully the answer is yes, and to all of those, and if not, that's fine. Now is the time to upgrade. No time like the present. All right, let's get over to our cash flow question. If you've been paying attention, you've been trying to win the copy of my upcoming book, and you wanted to answer the question. So that's all you got to do. To win a copy of the book, you got to send in an answer to the cash flow question. You can either email us at cashflowquestion@cashflowdiary.com and or call in at 800-689-1764. 800-689-1764. Last week's question was, if you have one part of your business system that, if it fails, will stop the entire system from working, what is that called? Well, that is called a single point of failure. I would say that in 2012, I learned that over and over and over, and probably over again, more than I wanted to. And it's one of those things that I pass on to you to make sure that you examine your business for single points of failure. One of the biggest single points of failure that I've seen entrepreneurs miss is the fact that they are the single point of failure. So the question you can ask yourself is, if this piece no longer worked, what happens? What stops? What can't move forward? And I know for myself, it's been a process and it's still going on. I mean, we're still documenting everybody's role and putting it into SOPs, also known as standard operating procedures, something you definitely want to begin to do for yourself, so that if for some reason, say, you have an operations person, or say you have a financial officer, say you have even your executive assistant, and something happens, you want to be able and to be in a position to where you can hire or find and replace individuals quickly. Not saying that people are throwaway and you can just replace anybody, because that's not the truth. You finding good people takes time, it takes work, and when you do find them, hug them because they're helping your vision come alive. However, if the need should arise, you should be in a position with which you don't have to personally spend hours and hours and hours of time telling them the basics of the position and how you want stuff done, because, well, it should be documented. Otherwise, you got single points of failure all through your system. One of the single points of failure that you should also be aware of, even if you're doing the strategy known as clustering, where you buy a bunch of properties in one particular area, you could still have a single point of failure if you only have a property manager. So that can be a huge and painful single point of failure. So your properties are in one geographic location. That's great, but you have a property manager. What happens when/if that property manager quits, dies, or no longer, or you two just don't get along? How quickly can you replace him or her so that you can have a backup? Now, that doesn't mean you go around and have 40 backups. I'm just saying don't have a single point of failure, because oftentimes timeliness in response can avoid the, you know, well, large amounts of damage that can occur once you realize something is bad and that you need to cut the cancer out, so to speak. So keep that in mind as you go forward. Now, if you want to win, as I said before, just go ahead and send in an email to cashflowquestion@cashflowdiary.com and or call 800-689-1764. This time you are answering the following question. When selling your real estate, whose perspective is the most important? So, when selling your real estate, whose perspective is the most important? Now, understand, when I say selling your real estate, that doesn't just mean fixing and flipping or wholesaling. It also means buying and holding, because in my opinion, a buy and hold is still a sale. It's a sale that you do every 30 days. So whose whose perspective is most important when you are selling your real estate? All right, let's get back to the live audio.
Okay, those clauses, they're great. The main one I care about, subject to inspection. Done. That's like my main one. And then behind that is inspection period does not start until buyer, usually me, has received every document requested for proper due diligence.
What's your rule of thumb as far as how much you make on a particular property?
What do you mean?
You're spinning it off to one of these 5 guys.
I don't do that anymore. I keep them. What it was, I've made between $2,000 to $26,000 every time I did that. Just depends. But I don't. I just don't. I don't want to do the work and then sell it to someone. The last one I did was a 14-unit building. I think I get $22,000 or something. I don't know. It was just one of those rare instances where I had more deals than money. So I was like, here, take it. You know, and they took it. It was like, great. I'm still kind of upset because that's 14 more units I could have. It's just $22,000. But yeah, whatever. Give me 14 more units of production. That's what I want. Make sense? So, I mean, I would be way too expensive to do that today. Because, say, for example, I take this particular building. You'll see tomorrow, but this particular building, I have estimates that we're paying $1.8 million. This particular building, the low-end estimate of what it'll be worth when we're done is $3.5 million. So I know that. To buy this from me today would cost a lot of money, because I have the system and resources in place to make it worth 3.6. So you'd have to sell me a really, really, really good reason for me to give that up. It'd have to be really good. Like, I can't think of one good. You know? What would I do? You know? So it'd have to be really good. And I don't know what that is. So that's why I don't do that anymore. Once you realize this, a wholesaler's skill set can be so valuable. There comes a time where you're like, I'm tired of giving these people great deals. I want some for myself. That's all that's really happened in that regard. So the cool thing is, though, is because the way I started, I gained the skill set of finding the deal, right? I'd learned how to interact with people, okay? And I learned how to ask them the questions. I learned how to listen. I learned how to sell. I learned how to ask the questions to get them to tell me what their investor identity was without ever using the word investor identity or them knowing that I was doing it, right? So that I could then go find something that matched what he said he wanted. And then I gave it to him. And they're like, great, cool. And then I did it again and again and again and again and again and again and a lot, you know? Until I got tired of doing that, and I was like, well, I want something new. I need a new toy to play with. And that's what's happened. Does that make sense? Did I answer your question? So I'm not the guy who's going to tell you how to write letters and use yellow letters or postcards. Not my thing. I go talk to people. I meet you face to face. I go to a networking group. Here's the last one. This is probably my most valuable one, especially when I don't have a networking group or a person to already talk to. And it's very, very simple. You know what I do? I go somewhere and invite people to play cash flow with me. That's it. The Cash Flow 101 board game. By far, the most profitable strategy I've got. From 6 weeks from the day I play a cash flow game, I will have somebody's money. I don't know who, but it takes about 6 weeks from that day. I know this because I've done it a lot. I've held cash flow games as small as a few people in my house to as much as 180 people at once. Been doing that for nearly a decade because I was doing that as a financial planner, playing the cash flow game for clients. It just turns out it works very well for raising capital and doing real estate too. Right? And that game is very pivotal and important. How do you think I met Robert Kiyosaki? He was in the room when I was teaching the game. You want to talk about pressure? Right? But it was fun. You know, that's how that happened. And then from seeing us play the game, this is how that relationship started. Mind you, when I started playing the game, I wasn't trying to meet Robert Kiyosaki. I was just trying to feed my family. So playing the game was a way to get to people who had what I needed. Use what you have to get what you need so you can have what you want. I had a cash flow game. I knew how to teach it. That was it. And he being Robert Kiyosaki, invited my wife and I last year to go speak on stage with him in front of 4,000 people, which he then later broadcast to 90 countries. I didn't know that at the time. So now random people from Starbucks every now and again say, hey, I've seen you. I'm like, oh, hi. I know where that was. You know, but that's okay. That's the price I have to pay to make the dream I want come true. That's all right. Most of you know this, some of you don't, but I'm naturally an introverted person, and I stick to myself. I'm sure right now you probably don't believe that, but that's okay. Ask my wife, she'll tell you. You know, in a party situation, I find the darkest corner and a chair and maybe some cheese and crackers, and I'm good. I am so happy there. That's my happy place. But that doesn't get the dream done. And because it doesn't get the dream done, I need to learn new skills. Make sense? Cash flow game. Here's an idea that I challenge some people who want to get things done in 45 days or less. And other people who want to do a subdivision, and others who want to change other areas of town, is to take a cash flow board game, go to a Starbucks, because their business model is all built around the experience and staying a while. Take one other person, maybe two other people with you, sit down and play in Starbucks. See how many leads you generate. For property, for students, for those of you so inclined, or even capital. Just watch. Now, having done this, I caution you, don't actually expect to play. If you go there with the intent of actually playing, you may be a little irritated because you're like, dude, I'm trying to play the game. Quit asking me. Okay? But you'll generate lots of interest. And you'll see just how many people go, I heard of that. Oh, I read that book. I've never been able to play. I would like to. Or the one I can't stand. Yeah, I bought the game. It's in my closet. I never opened it. That one drives me nuts. But all of those people are the very people you're looking for to execute on your strategy. Make sense? Got it. We have a question over here. Oh, whoa. Hold on. Okay, that's fine. Hold on. Did you say what is cash flow, like the board game? You've never played? No. Okay.
Is it like a game?
Yes. Hold on. When is your next cash flow game here, guys?
May the 25th and the South Loop if you need.
Thank you. I'm like, dear God, I cannot. Okay, but this is my point. How many of you who are already members of the community think everybody knows what cash flow game is? We have examples in the room who don't. And this is the point. That's how I got started. This game, my friend, will absolutely tweak your mind and change you because it teaches the very thing I'm talking about. Like what? No. It's okay. Think Monopoly, but real life. And then some. It's just real life in a very controlled environment. It'll teach you how to be a better real estate investor. And I don't care how much real estate you've done, it will teach you how to be a better real estate investor. But yes.
Second Friday in June is one in this location.
Yeah, see, there are games we just got to let people know, right? Back at home in Orange County, that if they don't know me from being on the thing with Robert Kiyosaki, the other thing they know is, you're that guy with that game. That's that game, they mean Cashflow 101, because I'm that guy. They know that that's what I do, is that I teach and instruct people with the game. That's just part of it, okay? So that they understand. So do you now understand why I said please ask that? Do you, sir? You understand why I was asking? Those two questions, key. But it's just I wanted everyone to be paying attention to that. Did that help you? Yes or yes?
Yes.
Good.
All right. Well, now you have the super secret, right? You know by far one of the best ways to begin to build relationships and a network around yourself is the Cashflow 101 board game. In fact, at the beginning of this episode, I mentioned that I was invited to Estonia. Believe it or not, I can trace nearly every lead, every event, everything that I get invited to or whatnot from the idea of cash flow, because that's how that happened when I was actually able to conduct the cash flow board game with Robert Helms and Russell Gray of the real estate guys, as well as Mr. Kiyosaki and the Rich Dad team in person. One of the things, the people that were there that were helping me were, guess what, from Estonia. And then we recently reconnected at another event, which was great. And it was during that time that I was invited to come to speak to one of their seminars. And it was a great time, obviously. I had a great time. In fact, I even got to co-facilitate another cash flow game with a group of Estonians. You know what's really fun? If you don't know a foreign language, but you have something in common, one of the things I learned in this particular trip was the fact that because I understood the cash flow board game and what the cards were, etc., I started to learn the language only because I was able to understand what was going on in the game. So certain words began to make more and more sense because I could see them, hear them, and I knew what they were in English because I had played it and instructed it so many times. It was a pretty neat way to learn a language by playing a game. But that's probably not news to many of you anyway. So what I will say is this: go get the Cashflow board game. Go play it. Play it in person with other people. Look on meetup.com because it's a very, very important tool to be able to learn how to get things done. The final thought for this particular episode that I want to leave you with is the fact that give. You just never know where it's going to lead.
Thank you for investing your time with Jay Massey and the Cashflow Diary. When you have a moment, please visit iTunes and leave a positive comment about the show. And go now to our website, CashFlowDiary.com, to take advantage of our free business building course, Cashflow Foundation. Gain the knowledge, understanding, and skill that will teach you how to never need a job again. Until next time.